Live with little or no editing. It's Defense Up. I'm Run 7. How you doing? Today we're going over MikeCTX's defense, and they've got a really good one. It's Team 1. I'm super excited about this. Before we get started, we grade on 5 different criteria. It's who you're using, their placement, their power levels, their ISOs, and what kind of mood I'm in. If my brotherhood was this big, I'd be putting this team on defense, actually. This is one of those teams that it seems so obvious to me that if, much like today's stream with my A-Force versus DormHold, it seems so obvious to me that I must be missing something. Like, this just looks great. Toad is going to give Blob the taunt. Magneto there for extra blinds. He's going to come in late with that one, but Cloak's going to come in early. Cloak and Dagger both put out Disrupted with their alts, so having Blob as a striker is actually really good because he's going to be rewinding turn meter and applying slow. There's vulnerables all over the field. This is the first time that Blob as a striker on defense really works for me. I just like this team. I like everything about it. I like the placement, the power levels, all of it. It's great. You could swap Blob and Toad to try and keep the taunt off to the side, because that's really what he's there for. But if you want those deflects to go to Dagger and Magneto, then that's a thing. Remember that there's offense upcoming off of Dagger, so she's going to be giving that to Blob, who isn't doing a lot of damage and kind of moving slow. I think we could do a little bit better. Like, if we had Toad there, he'd have offense up and a better chance of clearing positive effects, or Magneto or something like that. So there's different things we could do with placement here, but this works fine for me. I'm okay with this placement, and I think it's fantastic. I don't know what I'm missing here, because it just seems like, why haven't we been doing this all along? This is an obvious build for me. I'm gonna give you an A+ for this team. So moving on to team number 2. This one is not exciting to me. It's a thing to do. These are more plug and play characters. Captain Marvel, excuse me, has a team to go on now, so she's not just plug and play. But if you're not building the A-Force, you can use her here. This team works. There's nothing wrong with it. There's no problems with placement, no problems with ISOs. You've got 3 strikers, 2 people putting out vulnerables, but the people who put out vulnerables are doing a pretty good job of it. And really, there's nobody you could change to make a difference in the vulnerables. Also, Black Bolt goes so slow that he's not soaking up too many of those, and he's just kind of comboing with what's her name, Yo-Yo here. So we'll see how it goes. For me, I think that this is an A-, only because it's not that exciting, and I think there's better people we can be using. I kind of like that traditional Coulson Surfer kind of thing that goes on in here instead of these two. But it works for me. I like it. We'll move on to the next one. Team number 3 is another mismatch of plug and play hybrid characters. This one I like a little bit more. Okay, so we've got 1 skirmisher, 1 striker. Everybody else is healers. You've got Red Guardian starting off with the taunt. You've got Doc Ock putting out those deflects onto Doom and Invisible Woman. Doom's doing Doom things, of course. Minerva to revive anybody that happens to get knocked off a little early. Maybe Red Guardian, you know. And then you've got a cleanse coming off of Invisible Woman, also putting people under invisibility, hoping to give Doc Ock or Dr. Doom the time he needs to explode and stuff. So I think this is a great build. Honestly, these tunes aren't super high value in war defense, so pairing them all up with Dr. Doom to make Dr. Doom work is a good idea. I like it. So I'm going to give you an A for this. I don't see any problems here. There are better things that you can do. I kind of like this one. Kind of like it. Team number 4, Surfer Mercs. This is becoming a little bit more popular now that the Mercs have fallen off. It just adds a big damaging threat in there. You've got like a fully maxed Surfer too. 303, man, he's just crushing. So my only problem with this is that Surfer has Striker, and he would be better on this team as a Raider for that explosive upfront damage, putting more of those vulnerables in there for Taskmaster to double tap into when Taskmaster takes his turn. And then this Merc. This Merc, I believe he boosts skill military, not just military or just skill. So I don't think you're getting much value out of him. I think there's better Mercs to be putting in here. I think Korath the Pursuer, even at a low power level, would be better because he's really fast and he would draw that counter assist from Taskmaster in the beginning and you'd get a lot more out of him. So I don't know where your Korath the Pursuer is, but if he's anywhere near like even like 75k, I think you should throw him in here instead. Other than that, it's fine. We're changing up these ISOs now just to keep these guys alive. They've fallen off the meta for sure, and using them as a fortifier nowadays just to keep them alive so that they can take some turns and do things is probably the way we need to start going with this. I'm really sad. I loved the Mercs for a very long time. There's not a lot of things we can do to salvage this team, but definitely change out this one tune. Consider changing Surfer to a Raider. I'm going to go with a B for that team. Wakandans on defense. Okay, now I like this team. I like these ISOs. I like this placement for these power levels, okay? However, I do believe, and I've asked around about this too, I think it's M'Baku, next to Killmonger, next to Shuri, next to Okoye, next to Black Panther, is the placement that we should be using at even power levels. That's the way I like it. Black Panther is the hot target for this team. You want him as far away from M'Baku as possible. Killmonger is pretty robust. He heals himself a lot. So that's where you go. Plus, you get those counterattacks off of Killmonger when you get the splash damage from M'Baku. This is a fantastic team in Crucible. Earlier this morning, we were destroying them with A-Force in war practice, punching up on auto with the A-Force team. So not super excited about them as a war defense team, but they still have some value in the scammer raids in those Wakandan lanes. So I do think that they're a decent back burner build. I like this team. I think they're a lot of fun and their rework was fantastic. But for this placement at these power levels, I think this is just right. So A for this team in that instance. Number 6 is the Web Warriors. I can dig it. I would probably swap places with Punk and Scarlet Spider, but definitely trade places with Miles and Parker. Miles needs to be in the middle to divide the team in half. You're pretty close. The little placement tweak there, it's not a horrible setup that you've got going. I just don't like that you're able to easily attack this 3-piece over here. So I'm gonna go A- on that team. Team number 7 is the Heroes for Hire. Good enough. You could think about changing him to a skirmisher or a raider. Doesn't really matter. A for that team. Moving on, team number 8 is the Marauders with Madeline Pryor. You've got a sizable investment in Madeline Pryor, so I like that you have her as a striker. I think that you should change Emma to a skirmisher to get a few more vulnerables on the field, and we found that Strife no longer needs Fortifier after his rework. Fortifier does literally nothing for him. So changing him to a healer or a skirmisher does something, but honestly, it's such a minuscule impact on the team that it's not worth the ions to change it. So go ahead and just leave them there for now. If you do get the chance and you have a flood of ions or something, go ahead and change them to one of those for a little bit more value. We're splitting hairs with those things though. But I do like Emma as a skirmisher on this team for clearing more positive effects, but also for laying up vulnerables for her to go into. It's not much, but you got to get some of them out there. Her basic is so amazingly good. She's almost wasted as a striker on this team because there's just not enough vulnerables on the team. I'm even starting to look into switching Mystique to a Raider to see if that might get some more vulnerables out there, since Mystique bounces around a little bit. But all in all, you're doing really good. You're really close to everything working just right on this team. I'm going to go A- on that. 9 is the Young Avengers. You have Miss Marvel out of the corner. You have America Chavez speeding up 2 people, and I don't care about the rest of the placement. Strikers on everybody except for Miss Marvel, and then you went Raider on Echo, which is a secondary choice, but some people really like that. I do think that Striker is the better choice. I'm still going to give you an A for the team. Good job. 10 is the DormHold team. Here's what I don't like about this. A lot of people are putting Agatha next to MLF because they want MLF to do her little health steal basic assist for Agatha. And yeah, that's fine. But for me, MLF is hard to kill in the first place. So I don't bother making her a primary target. It's either try and quickly kill Agatha or kill Wong and then come back and kill Agatha and then MLF or something like that. Well, I mean, that's on the DormHold. Of course, this is DormHold, so it's altogether different. But still, I want you to swap places with MLF and Wong so that Wong is using his counter assist, removing those negative effects from the team, freeing them up to do what they need to do. For the most part, I believe these DormHold teams are either 2-tap or you've got to nuke them with a specialty team, and they're very challenging, very tricky to do. I wouldn't know because I'm stuck outside of city right now, and it's very frustrating for me. But I would like to see that placement swap to use Wong's counter assist for clearing those negative effects. Otherwise, Skirmisher, again, I like her better as a Skirmisher in Arena. She does work well as a striker on War defense, but I don't think it's worth building her as a striker. I think you need to keep her as a Skirmisher for Arena, and then I just won't dock anybody for carrying it over into War because the difference between Striker and Skirmisher in War is pretty negligible. Striker on Wong, that's right. Raider over here, that's right. And Dormammu as a Striker, sure, why not? I'm gonna give you a... I'm gonna go A- on this team also. Yeah, I'll go A- on this team. You're just trying to keep her topped off on health with that counter assist. And, you know, might be a thing for those, you know, nuclear counters or whatever, but it's not my first choice. Okay, this has been Mike's Defense Up. If you like what you saw, hit that like button, subscribe for more videos. And remember, guys, don't just have a good game, be good to yourselves and others too, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.